They called her nothing but a maid in her own marriage. And on the night the old man who truly called her daughter took his last breath, they dragged her small Ghana must-go bag to the gate and threw it into the rain. The same hands that had cooked their soup for 3 years, washed their white native attires by hand, and cleaned their toilets when the house help refused to come, were left empty in the cold. The same woman they told to be grateful for a roof over her head was locked outside while the music of mourning still played inside. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, watch to the end, and comment below where you are listening from so I know my family around the world. Now, let me tell you my story the way I lived it, because nobody will tell it for me. My name is Amarachi. I am 29 now. When I married Chinedu Okafor, I was 26, a primary school teacher at a small private school in Enugu, and I believed love was enough. I did not come from money. My father sells electrical parts at Ogbeteme Market. My mother fries akara by the roadside in Abakpa. We had joy, we had prayer, we had respect. I thought that was enough to build a home. I met Chinedu at my cousin's wedding at St. Patrick's Cathedral. He wore a navy blue senator, and he smiled like he had known me before. He did not talk about his father's filling stations or their big house in GRA. He talked about books. He asked what class I taught. He listened. When he asked for my number, I gave it because my spirit felt peace. For 6 months, he pursued me properly. He came to pick me after school. He brought groundnuts for my mother. He told me, Amarachi, I want a woman who will build with me, not a woman who will spend me. I believed him. His mother, Mama Nneka, did not like me from the first day. She looked at my simple dress, my low-heel shoes, my natural hair packed in a bun, and she smiled with only her lips. She asked me what my father does. I told her the truth. She nodded and said, at least you are humble. Chinedu's family is known in Enugu. Papa Emeka Okafor, his father, started with one kiosk and built it into 4 filling stations, 2 hotels, and houses in Enugu and Asaba. Mama Nneka runs the women's meeting like a queen. Their first son, Chinedu, was supposed to marry Ifunanya, the daughter of Papa Emeka's business partner. Ifunanya studied in the UK, drove a red Benz, and posted pictures in Dubai every other month. But Chinedu insisted. He told his father he loved me. Papa Emeka, a quiet man with eyes that saw everything, told his wife, leave the boy. If he chooses peace, let him have peace. So they allowed the wedding, but they did not bless it. Our wedding was small. My people contributed wrappers and rice. His people came late and sat at the back. Mama Nneka wore black, not Asuebi. When the pastor said, you may kiss the bride, she stood up and went to receive a call. I saw it. I swallowed it. I moved into the family house in GRA because Chinedu said we should stay with his parents for 1 year to save money before we rent our own place. The first morning, Mama Nneka knocked on our door by 5. Amarachi, the men like hot yam by 6. The house help traveled. I jumped up. Chinedu turned and slept again. I went to a kitchen bigger than my mother's whole shop, and I did not know where anything was. She stood behind me and corrected everything. Not that knife, not so much salt. Do you people not eat vegetables in your house? I cooked, I served, I washed plates, while she and Chinedu ate and discussed Ifunaya's new boutique opening. I woke up before the sun. I made breakfast for 6 people. Papa Emeka, Mama Nneka, Chinedu, his younger brother Obinna, who was in final year at UNN, and 2 aunties who lived with us. I cleaned the massive parlor. I mopped. I washed clothes on Saturdays because Mama Nneka said the washing machine spoils lace. I went to school tired, taught primary 4, marked notes under a mango tree during break, and came back to start dinner. Chinedu changed slowly, like Harmattan that does not announce itself. At first, he would say, Mm, don't mind my mother. Then he stopped defending me. Then he started repeating her words. Amarachi, why is the soup watery? Ifunaya knows how to cook continental. Whenever I cried, Mama Neka would say, stop that emotional blackmail. You should be grateful we allowed our son to marry you. Do you know how many girls are praying for this house? One night, I told him, I feel like a maid here. He laughed. Don't be dramatic. My mother is old school. Just respect her. Respect became my other name. Respect meant silence. Respect meant kneeling to greet her friends. Respect meant serving food and standing until they finished. Respect meant watching Ifunanya come to the house on Sundays with cake from ShopRite, sit beside Chinedu on the same sofa where I was not allowed to sit with my legs crossed, and laugh while Mama Neka said, see wife material. My goal was simple. I wanted a home where my husband would look at me with pride. I wanted children who would call me mama and not watch their father ignore me. I wanted peace. I prayed, I fasted, I kept the house spotless, hoping love would return. Some nights I would sit on the balcony after everyone slept and talk to God. I would ask him why love felt like punishment. I would remember how Chinedu used to open the car door for me, how he used to call me his queen. I held on to those small memories like lights in a dark room. I told myself that a good wife does not run at the first storm. I believed that if I stayed soft, stayed faithful, stayed useful, one day they would see me. That hope kept my hands moving even when my heart was tired. The only person who saw me was Papa Emeka. Papa Emeka was 74, tall, with a walking stick he did not really need. He read newspapers every morning and listened to radio. While everyone shouted, he watched. The first time Mama Neka insulted my cooking in front of visitors, he waited until they left and said, Amarachi, bring me more of that soup. It tastes like my mother's. I ran to the kitchen and cried. He started calling me Nwame, my child. He told me, money does not raise children, character does. He would secretly keep bread in his room and say, take, you teach children, you need strength. When his arthritis got worse, I was the one who massaged his legs at night with hot balm. Mama Neka said it was my duty as the daughter-in-law. Chinedu said I should do it well, so Papa would pray for us. I did it with love, because Papa Emeka was the only father I had in that house. Auntie Rose, our neighbor across the fence, became my friend. She was a widow who sold fabrics. She would see me hanging clothes by 7 in the evening and call me over the fence. Amarachi, you are losing weight. This marriage will test you. Don't lose yourself trying to keep people who have already decided not to see you. Obina, Chinedu's younger brother, was different too. He was in school, but he saw everything. Sometimes he would help me carry water when the pump was bad. He would say, sis, sorry. The pain grew teeth in our second year. I missed my period. I was scared and happy. I told Chinedu that night. He looked at me and said, are you sure it is mine? I asked him what he meant. He said his mother said girls from poor homes trap rich men with pregnancy. I bled 2 days later from stress. The doctor said it was not a baby, just stress. I mourned a child that never formed and a husband who already doubted me. After that, Mama Neka's campaign became open. She invited Ifunanya to family meetings. She told me to serve her. Ifunanya would look at me with pity that felt like pepper. One day she said, Amarachi, you work so hard. You should get a househelp certificate. Chinedu smiled. I swallowed the insult and kept serving because peace in house was costly. I wanted to leave. My mother told me to pray more. My father said marriage is endurance. My pastor said God hates divorce. In our 3rd year, Papa Emeka fell seriously ill. It started as a cough. Mama Neka gave him herbal mixture. Chinedu bought drugs from a pharmacy without test. I was the one who sat on the floor beside his bed fanning him when NEPA took light. I was the one who took him to Parkland Hospital on a keke when Chinedu said he had a meeting and Mama Neka said her back was paining her. The doctor said his lungs were weak and his heart was tired. He needed admission. Mama Neka came with Ifunanya, prayed loudly, took pictures, and left. I slept on the cold chair for 3 nights. I cleaned him when he messed himself. I fed him pap with my hands. On the 3rd night, Papa Emeka held my hand. His eyes were watery. He said, Noam, God sees you. Humans forget, but God writes everything down. He said they call you Maid, but you are the only wife in this house. He asked me to open his small black safe in his room at home. He gave me the key from under his pillow. He said, inside is a brown envelope. Keep it for me. Don't give it to anyone until the right time. We don't own tomorrow. I took the key. I hid it inside my Bible. Papa Emeka came home after 1 week. Mama Neka took credit. She told visitors how she fasted for him. She never mentioned my name. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday, Papa Emeka did not wake up from his afternoon nap. He was cold. I screamed. The house scattered. Mama Neka wailed like a siren. Chinedu drove in shouting. I sat on the floor holding Papa's hand, unable to stand. The only person who called me daughter was gone. That night, while his body lay in the parlor with a white cloth over his face, Mama Neka called me to the kitchen. She said, Amarachi, you have tried. Now that my husband is gone, we need to cleanse this house. You know our tradition. A woman who is not fruitful brings bad luck. Chinedu entered. He said, pack your things. My mother cannot stay in the same house with you during mourning. You can go to your father's place. We will call you after burial. I begged. I said Papa just died. Let me mourn him. I cared for him. Mama Neka hissed. Cared for him? So, you want to take glory? Did you give him life? Ifunanya was there, wearing black, comforting Chinedu like she was already his wife. They brought my small bag. They threw my Bible inside. The key fell out and hit the floor with a small sound. Nobody noticed except me. I picked it quickly and hid it in my palm. Chinedu opened the gate himself. He said, don't disgrace us. Just go quietly. I stepped outside barefoot because my slippers were at the back where I washed Papa's clothes that morning. The gate locked behind me with a loud clang that sounded final. Auntie Rose ran from her house with an umbrella. She held me. I could not speak. I looked back at the house where I had given 3 years of my life, where I had cooked 1,000 pots of soup, where I had nursed the only man who loved me, and I watched the lights go off one by one as if I never existed. Inside my palm, Papa Emeka's key was burning hot. Inside my chest, something broke and something else woke up. I did not know that the brown envelope in his safe held papers that would turn the whole Okafor family upside down. I did not know that the same people who called me a maid were about to kneel before the same girl they threw into the rain. But that night, standing in the rain with my bag at my feet, I made a vow to the God who sees in secret. I whispered, I will not die here. And from the upstairs window, Mama Naka watched me and smiled, thinking she had finally won. The rain did not stop when the gate locked. It beat my wrapper to my skin and washed the tears from my face before anyone could see them. Auntie Rose held the umbrella over both of us, but the wind pushed water sideways. She did not ask questions. She just pulled my small bag from the puddle and said, come inside, my daughter. Her house was small but warm. She gave me her late husband's old t-shirt and a wrapper. She boiled water for tea and added ginger. I sat on her plastic chair, shaking, not from cold, but from shame. The key Papa Emeka gave me was still in my palm. I had closed my fist so tight the teeth had cut a small line into my skin. I opened my hand and looked at it. It was ordinary, small, silver, with a black head. but it felt heavier than a bag of cement. Auntie Rose saw it. She did not touch it. She said, "Whatever that old man gave you, keep it close to your chest. The dead speak louder than the living in this town." I slept on her floor that night because her bed was too soft for my spirit. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Papa Emeka's cold face. I saw Mama Neka smiling from the window. I saw Chinedu turning the key in the gate. I woke up 3 times to check if my bag was still there. It was. My Bible was inside, wet at the edges. By morning, the rain had softened. Auntie Rose fried yam and gave me the biggest piece. She said, "You cannot stay here long. Mama Neka has eyes everywhere. Go to your people. Let your head cool." She gave me 200 naira for keke. I wanted to refuse, but pride does not pay transport. I carried my bag on my head like a market woman and entered the keke to Abakpa. The driver looked at my swollen eyes in the mirror, but said nothing. Enugu was waking up. Traders were opening shops. School children in uniforms were running. Life continued as if I had not been thrown out of my marriage the night my father-in-law died. My mother's shop is by the junction near the borehole. She fries akara in a big black pot. When she saw me coming with a bag, the spatula fell from her hand into the oil. She did not care. She ran and held me in the road. People stared. She was crying, "Amarachi, what did they do to you?" My father came from his shop when someone ran to call him. He is a quiet man. He looked at my bag, at my bare feet in slippers. Auntie Rose lent me, and his jaw tightened. He did not shout. He just said, "Enter inside." Our room is one room with a curtain dividing it. My younger sister moved her mattress to make space for me. My mother boiled water for me to bathe. She washed my clothes by hand. She kept asking, "Did Chinedu beat you? Did his mother push you?" I could not answer at first. My throat was locked. When I finally spoke, I told them everything, from the day Papa Emeka died to the gate locking. My mother wept loudly. My father stood up and walked outside. He stayed there for a long time, looking at the sky. When he came back, he said, "We have no money for lawyers. We have no power for fight, but we have God. Let us pray." That first week at my parents' house was the longest week of my life. I did not eat well. My chest was tight. I kept thinking about the house in Gra. Who was cooking for Papa's burial? Who was washing his clothes for the mortuary? Who was sitting where I used to sit on the floor to massage his legs? The answer came quickly. Obina came on the third day. He wore a face cap low over his eyes. He did not want anyone to see him in Abakpa. He brought a small Ghana musgo with some of my clothes Mama Neka had thrown into the boys' quarters. He also brought my school certificates that I kept in our room. He said, "Sis, I am sorry." We sat behind my mother's shop. He told me what was happening. Mama Neka had told the extended family that I ran away because I could not handle grief. She told the women's meeting that I was disrespectful to Papa before he died. She had brought Ifunanya into the house to help with burial arrangements. Ifunanya was sleeping in the guest room. Chinedu was not stopping her. I listened and felt nothing. It was like my heart had traveled out of my body. Obina then said something that made me sit up. He said, 2 days before Papa died, he called me to his room. He said, "Obina, if anything happens to me, make sure Amarachi is not pushed aside. She is the only one who did not come to this family to take." I thought he was just talking because of drugs. I showed Obina the key. His eyes widened. He said, "That is the key to Papa's private safe. Not the big one in the study that Mama knows. The small black one inside his wardrobe. He always kept it locked." I told him about the brown envelope. Obina shook his head. "Sis, you need to get that envelope before burial. After burial, Mama will pack that room and share everything." I told him I could not enter that house again. The gate man had instructions. Mama Neka had told the vigilante I was a thief. Obina said, "The burial is on Thursday. The house will be full on Wednesday for wake-up." Nobody will notice you if you come with the catering women. That night, I could not sleep. I kept my hand on my stomach without knowing why. For days, I had been feeling dizzy in the mornings. I thought it was hunger and pain. My mother noticed I was spitting a lot. She looked at me on the fifth morning and said, Amarachi, when last did you see your period? I counted. It had been 2 months. My heart stopped. The last time I was with Chinedu properly was the week before Papa took ill, before the insults got too loud. I had not checked because my mind was full of nursing Papa. My mother took me to the small clinic behind the market. The nurse did a test. She came back with a small strip showing 2 lines. She smiled at me. You are pregnant. I did not smile. I cried. I cried because the baby I had prayed for 3 years had come at the worst time. I cried because the husband who asked if the last pregnancy was his had thrown me out. I cried because Papa Emeka, who called me daughter, would not live to see his grandchild. My mother held me. She said, This child is your evidence. God does not make mistakes. I went back to the room and knelt by the mattress. I prayed for the first time, not for my marriage to work, but for strength to stand. I placed my hand on my belly and whispered, You will not grow up watching your mother kneel for food. On Wednesday, Obina came with a plan. He brought me a catering uniform, a black skirt and white shirt, and a head tie. He said the women from the church were coming to cook for the week. If I covered my face well, I could enter through the back gate with them. My father did not want me to go. He said it was dangerous. My mother said, If that old man left something for you, you must collect it. A dead man's wish is a curse if ignored. By 4 p.m., I was in the back of a van with 5 women peeling onions. My heart was beating so loud I was sure they could hear it. I kept the key inside my bra. I kept my head down. The Okafor compound was full. Canopies everywhere, loudspeakers playing high life music, goats being killed at the back. Mama Naka was in a big black lace, directing people like a general. Ifunanya was beside her in a fitted black dress, receiving condolences as if she was the daughter-in-law. Shinedu was in sunglasses, shaking hands. Nobody looked at the catering women. We went straight to the kitchen. My kitchen. The same kitchen where I had been insulted for 3 years. The pots were the same. The smell was the same. I wanted to vomit from the pregnancy and from memory. Obina met me by the pantry. He whispered, Papa's room is locked. Mama has the key. But the wardrobe safe is still there. Wait until they start prayers by 7. At 7, the pastor called everyone to the main canopy for opening prayers. The house became free. Obina led me up the back stairs. My legs shook. We entered Papa Emeka's room. It smelled of his balm. His reading glasses were still on the table. His Bible was open. Obina opened the wardrobe. Inside, behind his agbadas, was the small black safe. I knelt. My hands were sweating. I put the key in. It turned. The door clicked open. Inside was exactly what Papa said. A brown envelope, thick. Under it, some documents in a file, and a small velvet box. I took only the envelope. I was too scared to take more. I closed the safe, locked it, and put the key back in my bra. We were about to leave when we heard footsteps. Mama Neka's voice. She was coming up with Ifunanya. Obina pushed me into the bathroom and closed the door. I stood in the dark, holding my breath, holding the envelope to my chest. Mama Neka entered. She said, Ifunanya, after burial, we will pack this room. Emeka kept too many useless papers. We will burn what we don't need. Ifunanya laughed. Mommy, don't worry. By next month, I will redecorate this whole house. I bit my lips so hard I tasted blood. They left after a few minutes. Obina opened the bathroom. He was pale. He said, Go now. I walked out of that house, through the back gate with the catering women, carrying onions in a bowl to cover the envelope. Nobody stopped me. The gate man did not recognize me with the head tie. That night at my parents' house, I opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was not money, it was papers. A handwritten letter from Papa Emeka, dated 3 months before he died. It said, "To whom it may concern, I, Chief Emeka Okafor, being of sound mind, declare that my daughter-in-law, Amarachi Nwando Okafor, has shown me more care than my own blood in my last years. I have therefore instructed my lawyer to update my will." There were photocopies of land documents for the house in GRA, the 2 hotels in Enugu, and shares in the filling stations. Each copy had my name written in the margin in Papa's shaky handwriting for Amarachi. There was also a bank statement showing a fixed deposit account I had never heard of. The amount had many zeros. At the bottom of the letter, Papa wrote, "They call you Maid. Let them call you Madam after I'm gone." I could not breathe. My mother thought I was having an attack. I was not. I was reading my future in the handwriting of a dead man. I did not sleep that night. I held the envelope on my belly. I thought about Mama Nneka planning to burn papers. I thought about Chinedu allowing Ifunanya to sleep in the guest room. I thought about the child inside me who would need more than prayers. The next morning, Thursday, was the burial. I did not go. I watched the live video on Facebook from a neighbor's phone. I saw the crowd. I saw Mama Nneka crying loudly into a white handkerchief. I saw Chinedu in a dark suit, holding Ifunanya's hand for support. I saw Obina standing far away, looking at his phone. In the afternoon, while they were at the cemetery, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I almost did not pick. A man's calm voice said, "Good afternoon. Am I speaking with Mrs. Amarachi Nwando Okafor?" I said yes. My voice shook. He said, "My name is Barrister Uche Naji. I was the personal lawyer to late Chief Emeka Okafor for 22 years. The chief left strict instructions. I am inviting you to the reading of his last will and testament tomorrow, Friday, by 10 a.m. at my chambers in Independence Layout. Please come alone and do not inform any family member. It is very important." I held the phone tight. I asked, "Sir, why me?" He paused. Then he said, "Because you are the principal beneficiary, madam. The chief changed his will 3 months ago. He said you would need protection." The call ended. The room spun. My mother asked what happened. I could not speak. I just placed the phone on my chest and looked at Papa's envelope on the mattress. Across town, at the burial reception, Mama Nneka was standing on a chair making a speech. I saw it on the live video. She said, "My husband built an empire, and my son Chinedu will carry it forward with his beautiful wife-to-be, Ifunanya." People clapped. Chinedu kissed Ifunanya's hand. They popped champagne. They were celebrating too early. They thought they had buried the old man and buried me with him. They did not know that by this time tomorrow, the same girl they called a maid would walk into a lawyer's office and walk out, owning the roof over their heads. I placed my hand on my stomach and whispered to my unborn child, "Tomorrow we stop begging." I did not sleep the night before the reading of the will. I lay on my mother's mat with Papa's brown envelope under my pillow and my hand on my belly. Every time a bike passed outside, I thought it was Mama Nneka's people coming to drag me back. Every time my phone buzzed, I thought it was Chinedu. By 5 am I was already dressed. I wore the only good dress I had left, a plain navy blue that Obina brought from the house. No makeup, no wig. My mother tied my hair in a low puff and prayed over my head for 20 minutes. She kept saying, when God wants to lift a person, he uses the same people who buried them. Auntie Rose came with me. Barrister Uche said, "Come alone," but I was pregnant and afraid. She waited outside the chambers in Independence Layout, holding my bag with the envelope inside. At 9:45, a black Prado drove in. Chinedu stepped out first in a dark suit, sunglasses still on even though we were indoors. Mama Nneka followed in gold lace, her head tied taller than everyone else's. Ifunanya came last in a white dress, holding Chinedu's arm like she was already his wife. They did not see me at first. They walked past me like I was a cleaner. When Mama Neka turned and saw me sitting on the bench, her face changed. She hissed, "What is this one doing here? Who invited the house girl to a family meeting?" Chinedu removed his glasses slowly. He looked at my stomach. I had not hidden it. For 3 months the pregnancy was small, but that morning it showed. His mouth opened, but no word came. Ifunanya smiled that pity smile. "Amarachi, you should be resting. This is a legal matter for family." Before I could answer, the secretary called us in. "The Okafo family, Barrister Uche, is ready." The chamber smelled of old books and polish. A long table, 12 chairs. Barrister Uche Naji was a small man with grey hair and eyes that missed nothing. He stood when I entered. He did not stand for Mama Neka. "Sit, please," he said. "We are complete." Mama Neka sat at the head of the table like it was her throne. Chinedu sat to her right, Ifunanya beside him. Obinna came in late and sat next to me. He squeezed my hand under the table. Barrister Uche opened a black file. Late Chief Emeka Okafor was my client for 22 years. He was a man of few words but clear instructions. 3 months before his passing, he came to this office alone, without his wife or son, and executed a new last will and testament. He also recorded a video, which he asked me to play today. Mama Neka laughed lightly. My husband and I had no secrets. Whatever he wrote, it is for his children. Barrister Uche ignored her. He put on his glasses. "I will read as written." He cleared his throat. "I, Chief Emeka Okafor, being of sound mind." The first item was normal. He left his village house to Obinna. Obinna nodded. The second item was his mother's gold to Mama Neka. She smiled and adjusted her wrapper. Then Barrister Uche turned the page. Item 3. I bequeath my residential property at number 12, Presidential Close, GRA Enugu, including all furnishings therein, to my daughter-in-law, Amarachi Nwando Okafor. Absolutely. The room froze. Mama Neka's smile cracked. "What? Repeat that." Barrister Uche repeated it, word for word. "To my daughter-in-law, Amarachi Nwando Okafor. Absolutely." Chinedu leaned forward. "Sir, that is our family house. My father cannot give our family house to an outsider." Barrister Uche looked up. "Your father could, and he did. He was of sound mind. The documents are registered." He continued before they could argue. Item 4. I bequeath my 2 hotels, Okafor Lodge Enugu and Okafor Lodge Asaba, with all associated licenses, to Amarachi Nwando Okafor to manage in trust for my grandchildren. Ifunanya gasped. It was a small sound, but everyone heard it. Mama Neka stood up. "This is manipulation. This girl charmed my husband when he was sick. She was giving him drugs. Everyone knows she wanted his money." Barrister Uche did not raise his voice. "Madam, sit down, or I will ask security to remove you. Your husband anticipated this reaction." He pressed a remote. A television on the wall came on. Papa Emeka appeared. He was in this same office, wearing his blue kaftan. He looked thinner than I remembered, but his eyes were strong. He spoke directly to the camera. "Neka, my wife, Chinedu, my son, if you are watching this, it means I am gone. Do not fight the girl. For 3 years, you called Amarachi a maid in her own marriage. You ate the food she cooked at 5 a.m. You wore the clothes she washed with her hands. When I was coughing blood, where were you? You were in meetings. You were in Dubai with Ifunanya. It was Amarachi who carried me to the hospital on a keke. It was Amarachi who cleaned my body when I messed myself. God will not forgive me if I leave my sweat for people who have no sweat in it? Mama Neka's mouth went dry. I watched her tongue try to find water. Chinedu held the edge of the table like he would fall. Papa continued, I have left the filling stations in 4 equal shares. 51% controlling shares go to Amarachi. The remaining 49% is split between my wife and my 2 sons. She will be the chairman. She has the head for business, not just beauty. If you fight her, the company will be sold and the money given to charity. I have signed it. The room was cold. The air conditioner was on 16, but it was not the machine. It was shock. Barrister Uche turned the page. Item 5. I bequeath the sum of 200 million naira in fixed deposit at Union Bank plus all accrued interest to Amarachi Nwando Okafor. Ifunanya stood up abruptly. Her chair scraped. Excuse me, I need air. Nobody answered her. She walked out. Mama Neka pointed a shaking finger at me. You pregnant witch! You planned this! You knew he was dying, and you... Madam! Barrister Uche caught her. The chief also left a letter specifically about the pregnancy. My heart stopped. I had not told anyone except my mother and Obina. He opened a smaller envelope, dated 3 months ago. If at the time of my death, Amarachi is with child, that child is my first grandchild and shall inherit a trust of 100 million naira, managed by Amarachi until the child is 21. If Chinedu denies the child, DNA will be done, and if proven his, he loses his remaining shares. Chinedu made a sound like air leaving a tire. He looked at my stomach, then at my face. For the first time in 3 years, he really saw me. I did not plan to speak, but my voice came out. It was not loud. I am 2 months pregnant. The baby is your husband's grandchild, Mama Neka. The same grandchild you said I could never give this family. Obina put his head in his hands. He was crying. Mama Neka tried to stand tall, but her knees betrayed her. She sat down heavily. Emeka, you have killed me, she whispered to the ceiling. Barrister Uche closed the file. That concludes the material bequest. As the principal beneficiary and now majority shareholder, Mrs. Amarachi, you will need to sign acceptance documents. The properties will be transferred within 14 working days. You also have the right to occupy the GRA house immediately. Chinedu found his voice. It was broken. Amarachi, nay, please, we can talk at home. This is family matter. Don't do this. I looked at him. This was the man who told me to pack my things while his father's body was still in the parlor. This was the man who asked if my first pregnancy was his. This was the man who let Ifunanya sit on our sofa. I stood up slowly, my hand on my belly. Chinedu, for 3 years I begged you to call me wife. You called me dramatic. For 3 years I begged your mother to see me. She called me a maid. Papa Emeka saw me without me begging. I will not be wicked like you were to me. You and your mother can stay in the boys' quarters until you find your feet. I will not throw you into rain like you threw me. But the main house is mine. The businesses are mine. I will run them the way Papa taught me, with character. Mama Neka burst into tears. Not the loud wailing she did at the burial, but a quiet, choking cry of a woman who realized the game was over. Barrister Uche stood. Meeting adjourned. Mrs. Okafor, please stay back for 5 minutes. They filed out. Ifunanya was already gone. Chinedu lingered at the door, looking at me like he wanted to say something. I turned away. When the door closed, Barrister Uche brought out a second sealed envelope from his safe. It was red, with Papa's handwriting, for Amarachi open after the reading. He placed it in my hand. Your father-in-law said you would be angry, and you would have power. He said power without wisdom destroys women like men destroyed you. He said open this alone, tonight, and it will tell you whether to keep everything or to give some back and free yourself. My hands shook. The envelope was light. but it felt like another key. "What's inside?" I asked. He shook his head. "I do not know. He sealed it himself. He only said, 'Tell my daughter that the real inheritance is not in the will.'" I left the chambers with the red envelope in my bag next to Papa's brown one. Auntie Rose was waiting outside. When she saw my face, she knew. Inside the Prado, Mama Neka was shouting at Chinedu. I could see her mouth moving through the glass. Chinedu just stared ahead, empty. I placed my hand on my stomach and whispered, "We have won the house, but I don't know if we have won the war." That night, alone in my mother's room, I held the red envelope up to the light. Papa's words haunted me. "The real inheritance is not in the will." I was about to tear it open when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. A woman's voice, calm and cold, said, "Mrs. Amarachi, congratulations. If you open that envelope, you will lose everything. If you want to keep your child safe, meet me tomorrow at 8 a.m. Come alone." The call ended. The red envelope burned in my hand. And for the first time since Papa died, I was afraid again. I did not sleep with the red envelope in my room. I slept with it under my pillow like a weapon. The woman's voice on the phone kept playing in my head. "If you open that envelope, you will lose everything. If you want to keep your child safe, meet me tomorrow at 8 a.m. Come alone." I told my mother. She said, "Any meeting that starts with a threat is not from God." I told Auntie Rose. She said, "Open what your father-in-law left you first. The dead do not lie." At 5 am I was awake. I washed my face, prayed, placed my hand on my belly, and tore the red seal. Inside was not money. Inside was a single key, smaller than Papa's safe key, tied with black thread to a folded letter and a deed paper. The letter was in Papa's handwriting, but it was not formal like the will. It was a father's letter. "My daughter Amarachi, if you are reading this, they have heard the will and they are angry. Neka is probably crying. Chinedu is probably begging. Good, let them feel small for one day. I did not leave you houses because you need houses. I left you houses because they need to learn that the person they called Maid was the only one cleaning their mess. But listen to me, Noam, the real inheritance is not in that will. The real inheritance is the choice I am giving you now. Inside this envelope is the deed to a small 3-bedroom bungalow in Ameke, your village. I bought it the week after your traditional marriage. It is in your name, not Chinedu's. I told the lawyer to keep it quiet. Every woman must have a door that no husband and no mother-in-law can lock. There is also a second paper. It is proof that the filling stations have a debt of 80 million naira that Neka and Chinedu hid from me. They have been stealing from the company for 2 years to fund Ifunanya's lifestyle. If you take the companies as chairman, you take the debt and you take the fight. You have 2 roads. Road 1, take everything the will gives you. Fight them in court for 10 years. Become hard like Neka to survive. Your child will grow up in a big house with no peace. Road 2, take the small house in Ameke. Take the 200 million fixed deposit I left only for you, not the company. Leave the hotels and stations for them to drown in. Use the money to start your school, the way you always wanted. Let them keep the roof that made them wicked. You keep your soul. They called you maid. I call you daughter. A daughter chooses. Papa Emeka, I read it 3 times. My hands were shaking so much the paper made a sound. The deed was there. Plot 7. Ameke layout. Owner, Amarachi Nwando Okafor. Date, 2 weeks after my wedding. He had planned my escape the same month they started calling me house girl. I cried, but not the crying of pain. It was the crying of someone who finally realizes they were loved in secret. At 7:30, my phone rang again. Same unknown number, the same woman. "Are you coming?" I answered, "No." I am not coming. Tell Mama Neka that threats are for people who have nothing. I have a father, even in death. She gasped. It was Ifunanya's mother. I ended the call. By 9 a.m., I called Barrister Uche. Sir, I want a family meeting. Today, 4 p.m., in my house in Gere. He paused. Your house? Yes, I said. My house. At 4 p.m., the compound that locked me out in the rain was full again. But this time, the security at the gate saluted me. Good afternoon, madam. Inside the parlor, they were all seated like defendants. Mama Neka in the same gold lace, but her hair tie was crooked. Chinedu unshaven. Ifunanya with sunglasses hiding swollen eyes. Obina stood by the window. Auntie Rose sat beside my mother. Barrister Uche placed 2 files on the table, mine and theirs. I did not sit on the big chair Papa used. I stood. My belly was showing now. I wanted them to see it. I will not waste your time. I said, Papa left me everything because he saw everything. I have the right to push all of you out today and change the locks. I have the right to call EFCC about the 80 million you stole. Mama Neka jerked. Chinedu's head snapped up. What 80 million? Barrister Uche slid the audit paper across. Your father discovered it 3 months ago. He did not confront you because he was tired. Mama Neka started to cry. That fake cry she used at the burial. I raised my hand. Stop. I did not call you here for revenge. I placed Papa's red envelope letter on the table. Papa gave me a choice. Take everything and become you, or take what I need and become me. I chose me. I looked at Chinedu. You asked me if my first pregnancy was yours. You threw me out while your father was still in the parlor. I will not be your wife the way I was. I will be the mother of your child. We will do DNA after the baby comes. If you are the father, you will see your child every weekend. In my house, not yours. You will go for counseling. You will work as operations manager in the Enugu station, on salary, not as Oga. If you steal 1 naira, Barrister Uche will remove you. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. He nodded, tears running into his beard. I turned to Mama Neka. Mama, you called me a maid for 3 years. Today, this house is mine. You can stay in the boys' quarters, the same room you threw my clothes into. You will receive 50,000 naira monthly feeding allowance from the foundation I will create in Papa's name. You will greet me when I enter. You will not raise your voice in my house. If you do, the gate you locked against me will lock against you. She stared at me, her mouth dry. The woman who told me to be grateful for a roof was now begging for a room with her eyes. Then I looked at Ifunanya. Auntie, take off your glasses. She hesitated. She removed them. Her eyes were red. Barrister, please play the second video. Barrister Uche pressed play. It was from a hotel CCTV, dated 2 weeks before Papa died. Ifunanya was checking in with a different man, not Chinedu. Her hand was on a belly that was already showing. Papa's voice over the video. I hired a private investigator when Neka started bringing this girl. She's 3 months pregnant for her Yahoo boyfriend in Lagos. She wanted my son's name for the baby. I have the report. Ifunanya stood up so fast her chair fell. You people are wicked, she screamed, and ran out. No one followed her. The room was silent. I turned to Obina. Papa left you the village house and money for school. I am adding a full scholarship to Canada for your masters. You are the only one who said sorry to me. You will not suffer for their sins. Obina broke down. He knelt and held my feet. I pulled him up. Stand. Oka for men kneel only to God. Finally, I took the deed to the small house in Ameke and held it up. I am not staying in this big house. I will keep it. I will rent the hotels. I will chair the company meetings. But I will live in the house Papa bought for me in my village. My child will be born where people will call me auntie, not maid. When my child is old enough, I will bring him here to know his grandfather's name. Mama Neka could not take it anymore. She slid off her chair and knelt on the floor. The great Mama Neka, who made me kneel to greet her friends, was on her knees before me. Amarachi, please, forgive me. It was the devil. I looked at her for a long time. I remembered every insult, every pot of soup, every night I massaged Papa's legs while she slept. I bent down and lifted her hands. I did not lift her up completely. I held her hands and said, I forgive you, Mama, but I will not become you. If you want to stay, you will learn respect, not fear. Respect. She wept into my wrapper. The same wrapper, she said, was too cheap for her son's wife. Chinedu came and stood beside his mother. Amarachi, can I touch him? He meant the baby. I took his hand and placed it on my belly. The baby kicked hard, as if he knew his father. Chinedu fell to his knees too. That night, I packed one small bag from the Gra house, not the Ghana must go they threw out, a new box. I took only Papa's Bible, his picture, and my certificates. Auntie Rose and my mother followed me to Ameke. The small bungalow was painted yellow, with a mango tree in front. Papa had furnished it simply. On the wall, in the parlor, he had framed a photo from my wedding day, the one where I was smiling even though Mama Neka wore black. I sat on the veranda that evening, my feet up, drinking ginger tea. My mother was frying akara in the outdoor kitchen. Auntie Rose was plaiting my hair. My phone buzzed. It was a bank alert. 200 million naira. The fixed deposit Papa left only for me. I did not scream. I did not dance. I just placed my hand on my belly and whispered, Your grandfather said they call me Maid. Let them call me Madam after he is gone. 3 months later, I gave birth to a boy in a small clinic in Ameke. I named him Emeka Jr. Chinedu was in the waiting room, praying. Mama Neka came with a bowl of hot water and a new wrapper. Not as madam of the house, but as a grandmother who had learned to knock before entering. Obina called from Canada on video. He was in snow, waving his admission letter. The hotels are running. I chaired the board meetings on Zoom from my veranda. The foundation in Papa's name has already paid school fees for 17 girls whose husbands call them maids. Last Sunday, Mama Neka came to my house in Ameke unannounced. She stood at my gate, holding oranges. She did not enter until I said, Come in, Mama. She sat on the low stool, not the high chair. She looked at my son sleeping on my chest and said, Amarachi, thank you for not becoming me. I smiled. Papa gave me the houses, but he gave me the choice. That was the real inheritance. They called me nothing but a maid in my own marriage. They threw me out in the rain while their father was still cold. Today, they call me Madam Chairman. They call me for signature. They call me before they make decisions. But the name I love most is the one Papa gave me on his sickbed, and the one my son will learn first. Noah M., my daughter. And that is more than enough. This story did not end here. Comment part 2 below.